I have made my decision on how to cut this Laguna Agate. It is not easy because it has a lot of small windows all across this stone, but the windows are showing a lot of potential with super intense red color in the tiny windows. So I think this might turn out to be a really good one. So I think regularly I might cut it through this way because I like the symmetry when it's nice and round, but I think in this case I will go for the long face and I will sacrifice cutting through this one window a little bit because otherwise I would not be hitting the biggest volume. It has a small window here on top and another window here on the bottom, and I will place it for the biggest face. I think there should be a red center in this stone if I'm not mistaken.
Ich habe mir vorhin schon gedacht, der hat sehr schnell gesägt. Und der klang auch irgendwie komisch.
So I was just saying, when I was cutting it, it sounded kind of weird, and that was because it has a druzy. So I was mistaken and it's not red, but it's still a beautiful specimen. Beautiful eyes, beautiful color, nice druzy, and if you look closely, you can see that the black dots on the druzy, they're actually tiny goethite crystal sprays. So really interesting specimen for sure. Here's a nice little rough Laguna Agate from Mexico that's already showing a relatively large sized window with really good potential, so I think there's not much that can go wrong. But I'm looking at the bottom of the nodule and it seems like there's some carbonate inclusions which will appear brown inside of the stone. I will probably cut it like this way to catch as much of the banded agate as possible and only a little bit of the brown carbonate, but still where the biggest volume of the shape of the nodule is. So I changed my mind a little bit because I didn't want to cut too much of the carbonate here at the bottom of the stone. So instead I decided to just make a thin cut off of the broken off face, and it opened up the center just enough to have one beautiful specimen half and one small end cut. Here's a pretty flat agate nodule from Mexico. This is one of the Laguna Agates that has been mined from hard rock. And it only shows a little window here on this side, and there's different ways of how I can cut it. I could either cut it like this, like kind of a thin loaf of bread, and have two small really long halves, or I can go for one a little bit more risky cut across the long face of it. So that's probably the way I'm going to put it in the saw, and then just cut it for this really large sized face, but then there's no room for errors, so if it has fractures then the entire stone will be more or less ruined if the fractures are going right through. And if I cut it this way and there's a fracture, then I still have the chance to cut it into slices in different sections. But I think I will go full send on this one. So when you have the ability to cut an agate as thin and fragile and precise as this across the long face, then sometimes you have better abilities of cutting an agate versus if you can't cut as precise. If I didn't have this precision saw, then I would not have been able to cut a piece like this, and it just turned out incredible. Loaded with eyes all over, beautiful bright yellow banding with a nice red center, nice big size specimen, probably around 5 inches in size. Really, really good piece. Alright, this is the last agate cut of the day. This is one of the larger sized rough Laguna Agate nodules that I still have left. And since the material is pretty expensive, when you have like an elongated shaped nodule like this, I think a lot of times it makes sense to cut it across the longest face, and this one seems to have some inclusions here on that side, so I don't think it will be entirely filled with parallax, so the advantage of cutting it this way, in my opinion, is not given in this case, so I will definitely go for the longest face just across the entire piece here. The last cut of the day turned out really beautiful. I could see it has some inclusions on the side of the stone, and it developed to have beautiful eyes in the center of the piece. It is a little bit pale in colors, so I wish the yellow would be a little bit stronger, but incredible piece overall. I think the best piece I've been cutting in the last 2 days of all of the pieces I've been cutting. Great agate.